Maybe you've thought about quitting social media. Maybe you're tired of the endless scrolling and not doing your work and instead going and scrolling on social media. This is a problem I've seen in this age with almost every single person. When they want to do work, they go and scroll. When they're in a train, they go and scroll. When they're on a bus, they go and scroll. Anytime we get time to sit alone with our thoughts, we scroll. And that's an epidemic in today's age, not just for teenagers, not just for kids, but even older people. Everybody scrolls these days, and it's a big problem. Now, why should you quit? Maybe you've thought about quitting, maybe you haven't. But now I'm going to tell you why you should quit. Social media is not good for you. You've heard that, maybe from your parents, maybe from someone else. But why should you quit? See, why do we scroll? That's what we should understand first. We scroll because it gives us pleasure. It's a pastime. Right? Scrolling is definitely more pleasurable than sitting alone with your thoughts. So we scroll. What makes the scrolling more pleasurable? It's all down to a molecule in our brain called dopamine. Dopamine is a pleasure molecule. When we get pleasure, we get dopamine. When we get dopamine, we get pleasure. So the more dopamine we have, the more pleasure we feel. And when we scroll, we release a lot of dopamine and we feel very pleasureful. Now, this seems fine. Yeah, we get dopamine, we feel pleasure. What's the problem? When you see, how does dopamine work? Dopamine works by attaching to their receptors. There are things called receptors in our brain, and when dopamine attaches to these receptors, that's when we feel the pleasure. Dopamine alone circulating in our body is not enough. Dopamine has to attach to these receptors, and then only we feel pleasure. But when we release a lot of dopamine into our brain, more than we can handle, especially by scrolling, when we think back to our ancestral days, there was no scrolling, no social media. So we were always designed to never have that level of dopamine. Now, these nerds and companies have figured out how to make our body release more and more dopamine with these things like scrolling and video games and whatever else it is. It- So, when we scroll, a lot of dopamine is released. And when there's this much amount of dopamine, our brain can't handle it. If this much dopamine attaches to our receptors, it'll get fried, it'll get damaged. So what your body does, what your brain does to protect these receptors is it down regulates them. It allows them to receive less dopamine. That's why when you scroll and scroll and scroll, at the start of your scrolling session, reels feel pleasurable. And towards the end, they feel less and less pleasurable because when we scroll, a lot of dopamine is being released, and that much dopamine is dangerous to us. It's dangerous to those receptors because if that much dopamine attaches to these receptors, they will die. And if they die, we have no way to receive these dopamine that's in our brain. So your brain down regulates them. And every time you scroll, even if the same amount of dopamine is getting released into your brain, less is being able to attach to these receptors. Less is able to attach to these receptors. And because of that, we feel less pleasure. The same amount of dopamine is released into our brain, but less of it can attach to these receptors. Because when the dopamine attaches to the receptors, then only we can feel the pleasure. So when it gets down regulated, we're able to feel less pleasure from the same source of dopamine. Now that's a problem because in our body, 24/7, there's always a level of dopamine circulating throughout our body. There's always a dopamine level, there's always a certain amount of dopamine that's circulating throughout our body. This level of dopamine is called the baseline level of dopamine. This level of dopamine determines our mood, our motivation, our happiness, and this level of dopamine is very important because this is the dopamine that's circulating throughout our body always. It's always circulating. So we want to keep this level high. because we want to feel good, feel happy, feel motivated throughout the day. But when we downregulate these receptors, this dopamine that's circulating is not able to attach to these receptors because they've gotten downregulated. And because of that, we feel worse throughout our day. Even when we're not using social media, we feel worse. That's how depression happens. When we use social media or Instagram, when we're watching reels, if this is our level of dopamine, if this is our baseline level, when we watch reels, our level goes up above the baseline. We feel pleasure, we feel happy. And then after we're done, it slowly comes back down and it goes below the baseline level. Now we feel less happy than we did before we started scrolling. So scrolling, even though we think it makes us happy, turns out to make us less happy in the long run. Because of these downregulated receptors, that level, that baseline dopamine level, drops. And to compensate for that, we go and watch even more social media, we go and watch even more reels. And that keeps on dropping our dopamine levels. And throughout the day, we are more depressed, we are less motivated, and this is how depression works. This is how depression happens. When we indulge in these activities that produce dopamine, whether it be scrolling, social media, junk food, video games, drugs, whatever it is, it all works on the same mechanics. This dopamine, that's why we're addicted to them, because it gives us pleasure and we crave pleasure. Why do you think sugar is so addictive? Because it releases so much dopamine. That's why we can't stay away from sugar. Even though sugar is one of the worst things you can eat, we have it in abundance in our society. We have it in abundance because everyone's addicted to it. It releases so much dopamine. And social media works the same way. And when we keep on scrolling for days and days and months and years, we don't realize it, but our dopamine levels keep on dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. And within a few months, if you keep going like this, and maybe within a few days, you're going to get depressed. Why do you think there's a mental health crisis in this world right now? There's a mental health crisis. There are so many people that report themselves as being depressed. Like, these scientists ran studies and they asked people, "Do you feel depressed?" And I think around 70% of people in the US or something said they're depressed. Maybe I'm wrong, but that percentage was very high. It was way higher than it was before. Before, depression rates were so low, but now it's soaring. Every year it's getting more and more. And it's because previously we didn't have social media. We didn't have these quick pleasurable activities. If you wanted this much pleasure, you had to go out and get drugs. And that is not an easy activity. Right? You have to call the person who's selling it, you have to go buy it, right? And you have to do a little bit of work. But now we have this thing on our phones that we can pull out of our pocket at any minute, at any time of day, wherever we are. We can start scrolling and it gives us that dopamine. And we keep craving that dopamine and it keeps giving us that dopamine. And this is very dangerous. Like I just explained to you, the downregulation of receptors, your dopamine level drops. People who are depressed, it builds over a long period. Most of the people who are depressed, they bring it onto themselves. They do these activities, like especially scrolling on social media, and that's probably the number one cause of depression now. Because it keeps dropping your dopamine levels, and then finally, that dopamine level is so low that you don't feel motivated. You're sad. Your mood is bad. Like that circulating level of dopamine, that level is going down. So throughout the day, you feel worse. You feel sad. You feel less motivated because we keep watching social media. And to compensate for that, people go and watch even more. So it keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. So that's why I think this information is so valuable. And I think everyone should know this in the entire world. Everyone should know this because when you learn about this, you're so much more careful to what dopamine you receive. When you're going to do a dopaminergic activity, you're so much more careful to do it because you know now that when you do that, your dopamine level is going to drop. It has the opposite effect that you want. While you're doing it, you feel pleasureful, but afterwards, you feel depressed or less happy than you were before. So that's why dopamine peaks, these dopamine activities are so dangerous. That's why I'm such an advocate for this quitting social media. It has no use. Any pros it has is far outweighed by its cons. There is no use for social media. I think social media should be removed. I haven't used social media for months. I haven't used Instagram. I don't even have Instagram on my phone. I don't. I don't use any of these social media because now I know that these dopaminergic activities, they're going to make me depressed. I've stopped social media and I'm happier than I've ever been before. I'm able to just sit alone with my thoughts and be happy. When you stop social media, you realize what you've been missing. Because social media is like a drug. It is a drug. It's not like a drug, it is a drug. People won't realize it as a drug because it seems harmless, it seems wholesome, whatever, but it is a drug. Just like sugar is a drug. It might seem extreme. I might seem extreme. But if you're ambitious, you want to achieve big goals, right? If you want to build a business, if you want to make $1 million, and if you're a young man, you should have this ambition. Everyone should have these ambitions because that's what drives us forward, having a purpose, having an ambition, and working towards that. If we have these ambitions and we want to make $1 million in business, is it really going to help you to handicap yourself with social media? Well, there's someone else who doesn't use social media and he wants the same success as you. He's in the same field as you, he's in the same career as you. He's going to get the promotion, but you're not because he's not handicapped. He doesn't have the handbrake on. He can drive at full speed. You're trying to drive with the handbrake on. I'm telling you, this is not for light-hearted people. This is for strong, ambitious young men. You need to stop social media. It's not helping you in any way, or nor is it helping you achieve your goals. Here I am, recording a video and trying to grow my YouTube channel because I want to build a business. I want to build success on YouTube. I'm an ambitious young man. And because of that, I have realized that social media is just handicapping me. So I've removed that handbrake. And now I'm able to drive at full speed. When you want success, when your goals are this ambitious, you need to make sure that you are not handicapped by anything. Why would you handicap yourself? You're not in a position to handicap yourself. You're not in this easy position where you can get $1 million easily. It's hard enough as it is. It's so astronomically hard. And handicapping yourself is not helping you whatsoever. So you should stop social media. Stop it. Delete it off your phone. Put like those blocker apps. Just block it. And now I'm going to tell you how to quit social media. If you made it this far, I know you're ambitious. Because light-hearted people have already left. They don't like this advice. I am a young man. I'm a teenager. Right? If people see me talking about this, they'll be like, "What? What is this guy even saying?" Right? Because this is what usually older people say. They're like, "Oh, social media is not good." Yeah, like, you saw it on Facebook, right? Yeah, don't believe Facebook. But here I am. I've used social media. I've gone through the trials and tribulations of trying to quit social media. I have quit social media after being in the depths of, the depression or the mental health problems that social media causes. And now here I am. I've quit social media. Anyone I know, you can ask them. They know I've quit social media. They can't believe it. They're like, "How do you do it?" Well, it's hard. It's not for light-hearted folks. But if you want to become successful, this is what you need to do. So to quit social media, I'm going to give you a few actionable steps. Till now, I've just been giving you the theory. Now we go on to practical steps. So number one, make it unattractive. Why do you think social media is so attractive? It's because of their colors and the Instagram app, the logo of the app. It's so colorful. Like when you open your phone, the first thing you're going to notice is that if it's on your home screen. Right? And of course, you're going to click on it. And when you keep on clicking on it, you build a habit. And if you use social media, when you open your phone to do anything, you accidentally click on Instagram. But just out of habit. So I suggest you to take this in steps. Okay, you can't quit social media right now. You're probably not strong enough. Don't try and quit right now at this very moment because you're not strong enough. You're going to fail. You're going to try it, you're going to come back to this video and you're going to think, yeah, he was right. I wasn't strong enough. So listen to me. I've been through this, I've quit social media, and now I'm telling you how to do. Okay? So take it in steps. First, build friction. I know I said make it unattractive, but the more important one is building friction. What is friction? Friction is when you're trying to reach social media and it's a little bit harder than it usually is. We use the social media because it's so frictionless. Waiting. Reels load up in milliseconds. We don't need to wait at all to get this dopamine. And when we are on slow Wi-Fi and it takes a while to load the reel, we start getting anxious, don't we? It's because we've trained our brain to anticipate this reward in milliseconds. So what you need to do now is build friction. Right? Move your Instagram app to another place in your home screen. So you lose that habit of turning on your phone and then instantly clicking on that app. And now you're gonna have to click it somewhere else. And then you can add screen time to it. There's an app called Screens In that I would highly recommend. It has a feature where you can add a timer. When you open the app, like if you want to unlock it, you have to wait a certain amount of time that you can set. It'll be 30 seconds, 60 seconds before the app opens. And you can set for how long the app will be open for. So I've set it for 5 minutes. After the timer is done, you go into the app. After 5 minutes, it locks you out again. So this builds that sense of friction. You're still able to use it, but you need to wait some time before you can. And I'm telling you, you won't want to do this. Okay, you won't want to do this, but to build the success, and to improve your life, the quality of your life matters. Don't don't make it less by using social media. I've already told you, right? So build friction. Next one is make it unattractive. Like I told you, that Instagram icon, it's so colorful, it's so attractive. That's why we click on it. And the reels, even they're colorful, right? There's so much dopamine, fast edits, right? So what I recommend to you is turn your phone onto grayscale. There's an option in every phone. Just Google it up, or maybe you know how to do it yourself. Make your phone into grayscale, so everything will be black and white. Then you'll be asking me, why the hell would I do that? Because you're an ambitious young man. No one else in the world does this. But if you do it, think about the success that you can bring. When you're competing against someone else for a promotion, and your mind is focused because you don't use social media, and you're gonna get that promotion, you're gonna leave him in the dust because you're not handicapped. So put your phone in grayscale. This is what you need to do to become successful. I've always thought hard work is just like those montages you see on TV where like, this guy is working hard, lifting heavy weights. But that's not what hard work is like. Hard work is doing these small little things that you really don't want. It's these small things, not the big tasks that you see in TV. Right? It's these small things that create success. It's the minute differences that redirects your compass towards success. That redirects you to success. So make it grayscale, right? Add friction, make it unattractive. Right? And next you can try adding challenges, right? This one's a bit weird, but like if you end up scrolling on Instagram, you can say, well, for a punishment, I'm going to do 20 push-ups. Every time you go on Instagram, you do 20 push-ups. And that's going to give you that's going to give you a little more friction to do this task because you know you're going to have to do 20 push-ups afterwards. Adding punishment is a very strong way to get rid of addictions. And the next step is use it on the website. So if you're using Instagram, right, don't use it on the app. Delete the app and only use it on Safari. The Safari version of Instagram is horrible. Like it's like I mean, it's not horrible, but like it's way less responsive than it is on the app, and it's way less snappy. So that friction, along with grayscale, along with a 30-second timer, you're at this point where you don't even feel like using Instagram anymore. Maybe you do, but it's just so much less. That's why I'm telling you, take it in steps, right? Add friction, make it unattractive, add a punishment, and now use it on a browser, use it on Safari. So now the experience of using the app is way worse. The experience is bad, right? Before the experience was so smooth, so snappy. That's why we use it. It's so frictionless. Now there's friction. It's way less attractive now. And now when we're using it in Safari, it might be a little bit buggy. And you're going to want to use it less. We're going to get rid of that urge to use it. So now you continue like this, and when you get to the point where you just use Instagram out of habit, and you're just clicking on it, and then you end up scrolling by accident. You don't even want to go on there. Right now, at this point, when like that urge has gone down to use it, now you can completely block it. There are apps like Screens, and I told you can completely block that app. Like Instagram.com, completely block it. Even block the app store, right? So then you can't go and download it again. So do this, or even block Safari if you must. So you can't use Instagram on there as well. So now you're completely free. You're completely free of Instagram. And now, if you really need to use Instagram and for messages, if you originally only want to use Instagram to reply to DMs, if someone's messaging you, you want to message someone, and that's mostly the reason why people use Instagram, but they end up scrolling because it's so easy to get into a doom scroll in Instagram. Straight from the DMs, you can go and scroll. Like, so if you want to use it for messaging, that's absolutely fine. But what you need to do now is go on your laptop. If you want to use it for that purpose, go on your laptop, install an extension called Instagram Blocker. Like just download an Instagram Blocker extension where you can hide the For You page, Reels, and you can hide stories, and you can keep only the messages tab. Everything else will just be blank. It won't show. The Reels won't show. The feed won't show. Just block all that and only use the messages. That's what I do now. Everything for me is blocked. I only have the messages that's allowed, so I can only use messages. And because I don't have that urge to go and scroll anymore because I've made it unattractive and I've made that experience bad, so now I don't have that urge anymore. So even though I can go and like just unblock all these things, I don't feel like doing it because I have no urge to go and scroll on reels anymore. That's the best way you can quit social media. I've given you these steps, right? Give it friction, right? Make it unattractive. You give a punishment to it. Add a punishment. Use it on Safari, and then finally, this is like after you quit it, after you quit the addiction. So and now you're strong enough to use Instagram without being pulled towards reels. Right? Obviously, reels are very powerful. No matter how much you get away from it, you're still going to be pulled towards it because it's a very, very attractive thing. So block it. Block it. Don't think you're powerful enough to withstand that. Okay? I know it's danger. I know it's danger. That's why I block it. You must block it, and then you can use messages. So use a blocked version of Instagram on your laptop on the browser. And that's how you quit social media.